Hey everybody, welcome back to another video about the Centurion. Working on this topper now. I've showed in previous videos how this seal up here, this seal right here, is not mating with this surface. These are all brand new seals from Bronco Graveyard. Got it in place, and that seal is a solid, pinky width away from this surface. The other thing is that there's these holes up here. There's one here and one on the other side. So it can't go forward anymore. So I'm going to put some different weather stripping in here or on this surface right here and try to close that gap up. So right up in here, you can see if I peel this headliner down, there's that rib I was talking about up in there. That's where that hole on the top leads into. But there's our bolt hole right here. And that's the matching bolt hole. When I had that surface pressed completely up against there, it still had a gap. So I think what I'm going to do is take this kind of weather stripping right here, figure out where the best place to adhere this would be, clean that surface off, put this on. So I'm going to throw a little 3M or some more silicone in there and completely seal that off. That way, if anything does get up in here, it just follows this channel and goes straight up the side. I've already gone and put new stainless steel hardware on this roof rack mounting brackets with 3M 5200. So I threw a dab of 5200 in each of these little holes here, so that'll plug that up. And I put this rubber. I didn't want to use like a felt weather stripping or a foam. I wanted more of a rubber so it's weather tight and, well, weather resistant really. I don't want it to just break down over the next couple of years. And I'm not the kind of Bronco guy to take the top off very often. I also noticed that this brand new seal here wasn't really pushing on the seam here. So I bent the tab that it's on afterward. All right, so I was looking at this over here and I'm not very happy with it right now. Now I'm gonna jump back in there real quick and try it, but there's still a pretty good gap in there. It's not even touching. Back on the roof, looked at this from 100 different angles and I don't like it at all. So this original stuff I put in, this is something I already had, and it's actually the same crap I bought just a few days ago. And unfortunately, once I pulled it off, all of the tape or glue or whatever they used stuck to the truck side. So I'm gonna clean that off right now. And I've got this other stuff here. Where'd it go? Oh. This is a little bit thicker as far as dimensionally. It's about 1/4 inch, but I'm gonna have to double it up, or I'm gonna use this stuff and this stuff. Now I didn't want to use white material up here just for aesthetics, but I don't think I have much of a choice. It's rainy season, it's winter, well, about to be winter. And honestly, I'm just sick and tired of dealing with this. So I think I'm gonna use this stuff on the truck side, the roof side, and then put a bead of this on the actual rubber that's on the topper. I'm gonna try to get this other goo off of here, so there's sticky crap, just so that it doesn't attract more dust and dirt. Oh, there it is. All the old goo is gone. I'll do this side first. And I noticed that the middle section, right in here-ish, the gasket needs to be lower. On the edges out here, I'm going to bring it only down to the rain channel. I'm going to start a little bit further in than I really want to, but I think it needs it. And as I get closer to the center, I'm going to go ahead and drop it even lower. And sticky stuff.
It's halfway to just below halfway of the depth of this channel. I can already tell I'm not perfectly even on my depth, so that's okay. And we get back to the edges. I'm going to go ahead and bring it back a little bit closer to the top. Not much.
This is what it looks like. All the way around. You can see the gap that I left there. Now let's turn this system around. Like I said, I'm going to go on both of these two surfaces. Basically where the top of the window is here, that's where I'm going to try to start it. If I need to cut it back, I can. Okay, if this doesn't do it, I don't know what I'm going to do. We've got this seal here now. And that seal there, the white one. Now I'm going to go ahead and get this topper pushed back forward and we'll see what it looks like. Well, I certainly wouldn't call this ideal, but I'll tell you, it sure is way better than it was. It's actually sealed now. Can't get the sharpened scraper blade through there. I hate that I still have that huge gap in there, but at least there's mating surfaces across the whole thing. Even though over here doesn't look right, a lot of that will squish down. And once I get the bolts in, that's going to crush that a little bit more. That'll make it watertight. Whew. Wow, this has been a pain in the butt. All right, so I had already gotten the top on position, spent 10 minutes pushing each side back and forth, make sure everything was even. Then I realized I forgot to put this stupid nut in here, this clip nut. And I was going to grind out that hole to oblong it a little bit so I could get a little bit higher on it. And got that done, then realized that these pieces of weather stripping in here were loose. They had flat out holes underneath of them. So I filled that in with 5200. That way, if rain does make it in up there, all it can do is make it into this channel, come down through this channel and roll out. And if this gets clogged up at all in this area, it would back up over this little hump here and go in. We don't want that. So, or go under that seal. So hopefully this 5200 will stop that now. So I think we're ready to go now. I'm going to go ahead and set the camera back here so everybody can see kind of the whole process of a one-man show. It's not terribly difficult. Takes a little bit of patience though.
So I'm going to go back in the old right now so I can see those clip bolts or clip nuts. Make sure they're in position. I found that pretty so far opposition was really difficult. Bolt down into opposition, I'm going to up. Alright, so I'm going to hold thing forward, top of the door. Make sure the holes are close. Now the front lip is over. Looks very center. I'm going to hold my hand on the front edge. Lift up the back. This is not right. Push forward as far as it'll go. It's there.
So now I'm going to even out the sides and push it forward.
Okay.
So the topper is sitting just inside of the sheet metal. On both sides. So that's good. I like that. Now for the inside part. So we've got these seals in here. These seals right here. I make sure that they're fairly flush. Now they're hollow on the inside, if you can see that. So I just kind of push them to where it's close. That's about where I want it. I'd like this to be a little closer this way, but that's going to have to happen with the bolts. And it's the same on both sides. they both look pretty good. Now this is the entertaining part that I had to figure out on the fly. You're gonna get a kick out of this, fellas. And maybe one or two ladies. Oh, and by the way, when I put all the bolts in, I'm gonna put them in permanently with anti-seize. That way we don't have any issues down the road. Okay. So the first one I'm gonna do is the front one, the front middle. And it is not even close right now. This one I've been able to do without using any extra tools. I'm gonna try to do it again that way. And I think I got it. Okay, so that one's started. I'm gonna leave it loose. I think it started. Holy crap. That's the one I could not get to save my life last time. All right, since I'm doing that, the side ones, I'll go ahead and get this other side one. I'm sure it's already started, which is a good sign. Now these two outer, so the upper outer, they have been the biggest pain in the butt in the world. I'm gonna try to get them without doing something crazy like I did last time. I tried to just push up on the ceiling. Okay, you know what? I'm not dealing with this. I'm gonna go ahead and get the jack, which I already got up here. So this is something crazy. You gotta see this. I've got this pneumatic jack. Okay, now I'll get my steel plate in there to push up on the ceiling itself. I bet that did it. Close. There she goes. Isn't that nuts? Absolutely friggin' nuts that I gotta do this. I'll let this side off and do the same to the other side. I really don't care if I'm bending shit right now. I'm so over this crap. And you know what? If you don't have one of these jacks, use any kind of jack. Use a bottle jack, a floor jack. You know, put a 2x4 in there and use a floor jack or a bottle jack. All work the same. This pneumatic jack just kind of makes things quick. And honestly, until this job, I've had this pneumatic jack now, this Enerpack pneumatic jack, for a couple years. Never even used it. Okay, now that those guys are all in, I think I'm gonna snug up the top 5 bolts, or the front 5 bolts, just to kind of pull it forward, and then I'm gonna let off on them a little bit and get the side ones in. Oh, crap. I forgot about the side. There's these brackets that go in here, and I totally forgot about them. This bracket's supposed to go like right there. And I don't remember. No, this didn't have these brackets when I got it. I stripped these brackets out of a junkyard. So I have no clue if these are even going to do me any good. Let me go get a piece of the trim and find out if it'll actually help. Yeah, those screw holes do line up, so it'd be in my best interest to go ahead and do that. And I also snagged a couple of these little brackets out of the junkyard, and they go over here. I think the vertical brackets will work, but these side brackets, I don't think they do crap. I recognized that I had forgotten a few things during this process. One was the anti-seize. All right. So I pulled each one of these back out and I went ahead and lubed them up. The other thing I forgot to put in are these stupid brackets. So I took care of that, and I took care of this gasket or weather strip or whatever. Now, most don't have this. This one does. So I got that back in, and I got the side panel tucked underneath. Got the door gasket wrapped around it on both sides. None of these brackets for the trim panels on the side are going to work. Not a single one. Which I'm okay with, whatever. I mean, right now I'm not looking for a show truck. I'm looking for a usable, not going to leak truck. It's on. All the bolts are started. 13 of them are started. And I know some of the newer ones have one. Like there's this very back one, and then some of the newer ones have one right here for a clip, a trim clip. A trim bolt clip or whatever you want to call it. They have one there. I don't. This has 13 bolts instead of 15. So what I'm thinking is I pull these two here forward so that the cab or the topper gets pulled forward. Then I hit these two front and bottom ones, snug them up just enough to where I can back these guys off and then pull it forward on the top, and then back these ones off and snug these ones down, and basically kind of do a tight. So tighten forward, tighten down, tighten forward, tighten down, wiggle it and bang it little by little until it's nice and snug. And it doesn't sound like fun. I don't really want to do this, but I don't see another option to get this thing to fit properly, because nothing on here fits properly. At all, not even close. Oh, and I was using a mini Bertha here to tap the whole thing forward. Don't ever tap on this bottom edge right here. This little chunk right down here is not supported by anything behind it. There's nothing there. I tapped on it and it cracked it. So, word of advice. Well, that definitely looks nice. I am really happy with it. Now the side over here, I know this headlamp's going to screw y'all up, but there's still a major gap in there. But I'll tell you, at least it fits. Everything fits. All right, so I've been fiddle-farting with this thing for an hour. I know I turned the camera off. I didn't want to be cussing on there. It's looking okay. I ended up stripping this bolt right up here. What else can you do? I still got a smidge of a gap there, but that seal that goes between the topper and the cab is like 1 3/4-ish. And I think it's just the outer little section that's not making contact. The top of it is definitely watertight now, which that was my biggest concern. Here, and check the alignment of the rear window, which, looking at this, looks spot on. Better than before, actually. All right, so ironically, I mean, even though the sides look really darn close, like this side might have maybe a 1/4 inch gap right here, maybe. This side has about the same. All right, so we look at the actual window now. This side, the window is going straight in the seal, which is fantastic. This side, it's offset. It's too far aft, and I don't think it's a tailgate issue. Give it a little push there. I'm sure it'll still seat itself, and maybe it's the window itself. I don't know. There's a lot of flex in that, so that's fine. I'm betting it'll still seal just fine. All right, so I'm going to try to bring it up a little bit more. Custom switch. How you like that? It's struggling, that's for sure. You can hear it. Now, granted, the engine's not running. So yeah, definitely seated just fine. Looks about the same on both sides. Yeah, maybe. This side's definitely a little more snug. All right, let's run it all the way up. Might have to start the engine, I don't know. There it is. So you see how much gasket is showing on this side versus that side. The gasket itself is being compressed more on the left than the right. But overall, I think it'll work just fine. I'm not too awfully worried about that. All right, now I am going to call the topper done. Up here, I am certainly not worried about it leaking anymore. Those gaskets or weather stripping, all of that is smashed so tight in there that any water that gets up in here is just going to funnel off to the side, down this channel, and drip out. And that's what it's supposed to do. Now there is a little bit of a gap in there. Right there. A little bit of a hole. You see that hole? But like I said, that's a very, very small portion of this gasket. This gasket's about 1.75 inches wide. So I don't think I'm going to get water ingress from that point. You know what? This video is way too long as it is. I'm not going to bother putting in the cab lights. That'll be a separate video. If you want to check it out, hit the link below. Hey, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Keep yanking on them bootstraps. We'll catch you on the next one.